Well, we've always said we're not against a financial transaction tax, but it would only work, and I think most people accept this, if every country in the world or every place where banks and financial services could locate signed up to it. We just want to see all the countries in the world sign up, and it doesn't work if only a couple of countries or even all the countries in Europe signed up. You have to get America, you have to get China, otherwise all the activity, all the currency traders just move to that country where the tax doesn't exist and no money is raised at all. So that's why you've got to get all the countries signed up. And what I'd say to other European countries is, as they know, we're very happy to have the discussion about how to take forward international agreement on a financial transaction tax, but don't use it as an excuse not to increase your aid budgets and live up to the commitments you already entered into, for example, the Gleneagles G7 conference. And the truth is, Britain is virtually the only country in the world at the moment increasing its aid budget. We're doing so substantially. And what I'd say to supporters of Oxfam is that we, all of us who believe in increasing aid, need to win an argument, not just around the world, but also in our own country, that increasing the aid budget is a good thing to do. And there's a huge job to be done because, frankly, there are many people who don't think it's a good thing to do. And that's the immediate focus of my attention. We're putting billions of pounds into the aid budget. We're making sure it's well spent. Now we've got to win domestic support for that, and we've got to get international agreement that other countries live up to the commitments they made. Financial transaction tax takes money from every time there's a financial transaction. That includes people's pension funds or when you buy an insurance policy. So it's a very broadly based tax. Now, it only works, I'm afraid, if all the countries in the world sign up. Because otherwise, for example, if you did a tax on currency transactions in the City of London, they would simply move all those currency transactions to New York if New York wasn't also signed up. So that's why we stress you need international agreement. It's not just because we want international agreement for the sake of it. The tax wouldn't work if it was not international, because there would be no money raised, because there would be no financial transactions taking place in Britain if we did it alone. That's why we thought the bank tax was the most immediate thing we could do, that definitely raises money, does take money from the banks, and we can spend it on the aid commitment. I made a very tough decision, which has meant other areas not getting as much money as they'd like, to increase our aid budget. Now we've all got to win the domestic argument here in Britain that that's a good thing to do, but also the international argument that other countries, including some of the ones that you were asking me about, like Germany, like France, like Italy, actually live up to their commitments. We can all sit around and talk about a financial transaction tax, and we will. But in the meantime, it's time that other countries anteed up and lived up to their commitments in the way that Britain and the British taxpayer has. Every time I go to a G20 meeting, every time David Cameron goes to a G20 meeting or the G8 meeting, which is coming later this month, we raise this issue. We say we signed up to these things, all of us, as the advanced world, the developing world, the developed world. We all made promises to the developing world. Britain is honouring that in the toughest of times, when other services are having to take difficult decisions about their funding. But we are increasing every year our aid budget to live up to that promise to the poorest people in the world, and we make the point that other countries should be doing the same. Well, it is discussed. I mean, it's absolutely discussed. But I have to say, there are still many countries in the world who are not convinced. So there are going to be a lot more discussions to come.